a lot of these games can be determined, especially early on, based off who handles playing in this environment, in this atmosphere.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the TexAgs Rewind presented by Specs, and they are the four-time National Retailer of the Year. We're here in Florida. Those guys are at the Rollo Insurance Studio in College Station. I want to ask Matthew Dawson, what did you learn today on the show?
What did I learn today on the show? Well, I learned that Evan Oschenbeck is Stopper of the Year. How about that? Live, mid-show, we found that out.
See, I don't know if you guys have I know you've noticed, but I'm now asking questions about the show as opposed to what's your favorite part of the show? I'm asking direct questions to see who's paying attention. And Dawson was paying attention. Cade, what was your favorite part of the show?
Well, okay, my favorite part of the show was I liked that baseball bunch segment. I thought it was nice, it was a little broken up, but they got a little segment together at the end. And then today I learned that the media encoder likes to do some weird things. So, but hey, figured it out. Stream ended up working for those last 2 hours for the most part. So, all good back here.
All good in the hood. Tell us what we have on the rewind.
We have OB in the Go Hour. He was great. We have Kay Naegeli in the rewind today around Aggieland. And then we have Baseball Bunch and Billy Liucci. Check it out.
All righty, it's the rewind. Check it. On the Bank on it, presented by Vera Bank, authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. You can learn more at verabank.com. OB, what are you banking on?
I'm banking on Ryan Prager. I know he didn't pitch his best, struggled last time out, but I still say that 95% of the time Ryan Prager gives you a good, solid start. I'm banking on him in a big game to bounce back strong. And I think Ryan Prager is going to set you up for a game one victory.
I'm banking on Caden Sorrell, giving you something we've seen many times this year, but not only an offensive moment against the Gators specifically that we're like, okay, Caden, also a defensive gem that we've gotten so used to seeing. I think we're going to get both of those. That's what I'm banking on. You're going to get that from Caden Sorrell in an Aggie victory.
Well, that's a big park, and if you got good outfielders, that's definitely a bonus, and A&M has a talented, even with the injury, A&M has a talented outfield with a lot of speed.
Obi, are you familiar with what Trisha Ford is doing right now?
Well, not at the moment. I assume she's probably driving to work.
Not at the moment. In the portal as of late.
Well, I saw that she got a pitcher from Washington.
She's gotten 2 pitchers, first of all. One from Washington, one from Ole Miss. Arguably, Ole Miss's best pitcher last year. 2 great additions. So yeah, Aggie softball landed Sydney Peters. She was a freshman at Washington this past season, appeared in 26 games, making 5 starts, a 3.35 ERA, 8-1 record, and 70 Ks. Was also named to the RIP Pac-12 all-freshman team. So
excellent.
It's a good pickup. And
excellent.
Then yesterday, Grace Sparks, she is from Crosby, Texas, but she just finished her sophomore season at Ole Miss. Yes, she is. She was a part of back-to-back NCAA tournament squads, and this past season held a team-leading 2.14 ERA.
Wow, that's amazing, Grace.
Right? She has some spark. I'm hanging around OB too much. But Trisha Ford, what she has coming back with Emily Kennedy. And then additionally, my little cousin, Della Jasinski, has committed and signed to play for Aggie softball. She was a pitcher, so she will be added to that staff. And I'm kind of biased, but she's a stud. So really excited to see what Trisha Ford can continue doing.
It's the opening day mentality that this team has always had, and they preach it. They preached it yesterday at the press conference. How difficult is that when you get to this stage? But knowing them, it's part of the process, right?
Yeah, opening day, it shouldn't be very hard to get up for an opening day mentality in Omaha. I think the harder job is to maintain a steady heartbeat and get yourself back to even, right? Like, a lot of these games can be determined, especially early on, based off who handles playing in this environment, in this atmosphere. So, like, getting yourself excited to go to the ballpark won't be the issue. It'll can you get yourself back to neutral to go play a game and not try to play on this high of playing and competing in the College World Series?
Got it?
Well, I think that, and this is going to sound strange. Omaha is special. It has a special atmosphere. But what A&M has experienced at home And the excitement level that has been around the baseball team has just been at a tremendously high level, okay, in front of a packed house with people outside. The stadium is not as big, but every single spot, everyone yelling about your game, you just experience excitement at an extremely high level. And I think that plays well for this Aggie baseball team. Now, to go there, to face a team as good as Florida can be and has been since after going 0-1 at the SEC tournament, that can be a different level. But I'm excited. I think I saw the guys in the dugout. I looked down in the dugout when they rallied, when Kent got it going, and they were going crazy and excited. And I looked over there, and the head man, Jim Schlossnagle, is locked in and focused and thinking about what he's going to have to do to win that ball game the rest of the way out. Now, let's give the ball to Aschenbeck, which is, pretty good coaching when he says, okay, I'm not going to go with Stewart. I'm going to go with Aschenbeck and win instead, and we're going to lock this down. But he was locked in. He has an even keel that can keep the guys, that they can look at their leader and say, this guy is staying level. And I think that's huge for this team because they've experienced some highs and they've had in-game lows. But most of this year has been victory after victory. And I think that that's a huge key that you'll have guys to look to that are your coaches that'll be on an even keel.
You look at Connor, and he started what? I believe it's 8 games, if I'm not mistaken. He was a 5-star quarterback, the same level as Quinn Ewers and Cade Klubnik in the same class, and then Ewers reclassified and went to Ohio State and then came back. They were all 3 5-stars. Take your pick on who you thought was going to be the best college football player. Jimbo Fisher made his pick. Now Ewers, I think when Connor committed, I think Ewers, he was already at Ohio State. That had happened. And then he was kind of coming back into the mix after that semester from Texas. And again, I told you recently, like Quinn and his camp reached out more than a couple times to A&M. And again, I've said this publicly. I don't think the Aggies would have gotten him because I think Texas was in a particularly, at that time, you got to remember, they were in a particularly desperate quarterback situation. He was actually about to go to Tech. So I think had A&M said, you know what, yeah, we will take you and Connor because Ewers was going to – they were willing to do that. But the Aggies said, no, Jimbo was all in on Connor because Connor was all in on A&M, and he wasn't going to betray that at the finish line. Maybe had it been earlier in the process, it was at the finish line. He was not going to do that. Well, I think what would have happened is you could have compromised Connor, and then Quinn, Texas still would have stepped up with whatever NIL package they put together to get him away from Tech. And the Aggies, contrary to what was being said, were not playing no one really was swimming in those kind of waters at that time. But those 3 guys are all – their careers are kind of intertwined. They kind of are and will be. These 3 5-star Texas quarterbacks essentially in one class. So my point is don't lose sight of the fact that Connor was one of those guys. And when Connor got his first start, it was actually an incredible performance against Ole Miss, where the Aggies were heavy underdogs. It wasn't a good A&M team that season. Wasn't that the 5-7 season? Yeah, they were 5-7. Or no, yeah, that was a couple weeks before. He had an incredible start against Ole Miss. When you look at the numbers, you look at some of the hits he took to hang in there. It was an awesome performance, and even the numbers would play that out. I forget at the time, someone said the best start by a true freshman in an SEC football game in however many years, by the metrics and numbers. Then a couple weeks later, he comes back after a rough outing by him and the whole team against Auburn. And what does he do? He knocks off number 5 LSU and made some incredible throws and heady plays, winning plays along the way.
All right, Dawson, tell the people what to do.
You got to like, you got to comment, you got to subscribe, and you got to share the Rewind with everyone that you know. I mean, it's the weekend of the Aggie, right? I mean, just share it. Just share it.
Just share it. Just share it. That's the new shirt. Just share it. We'll see you next time.